When I do this exercise, I'm going to be hanging onto my yoga block. Now, some of you, if you follow me on Instagram, you might have seen me doing this exercise, actually hugging a medicine ball. You can absolutely weight this exercise and grab a med ball or something with a little bit of weight to it and keep it in with yourself when you roll through this. It's another way that you can progress this one as well. And I do want to give a shout out for this exercise to Alec Blanis, who's the one that showed me this exercise and put it in my own program a little while ago, and I love it. So we're going to come up into standing. We're going to start on our right foot. So I'm going to have my right foot out from the wall a little bit here. You can tinker with how close or how far you want it out from the wall. Find again an angle that feels right for you in terms of how far your leg is out or how far you're actually angled inwards. So I'm going to have my foot pointing straight ahead with that right foot. I'm going to lean into the wall with my hip. So I'm going to take my hip and I'm going to glue it onto that wall. So now my leg is on a bit of an angle, like I just said before. And then for me, again, I'm just going to hang on to this block. You don't even need the block. You can just have your hands doing whatever you want. I find it just less awkward. It gives my hands something to do. It also gives me something to irradiate with and help keep a little bit more rigidity through my upper half so that I'm not twisting through my spine, because I want to try and isolate this to my hip. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sink down into a hip hinge. So back leg's going to come out behind me. You might be limited in your hip mobility, and so you might therefore be a little bit more upright, but I'm going to ask that you try and get as horizontal as you can for this one today. And then what you're going to do is you're going to open your pelvis up, squeezing your glutes on that side and kind of driving your back glute up against the wall. You should feel your back hip working or your back glute working. And then you're going to do the opposite. So if I imagine a laser coming out of my pubic bone, I'm going to come back down, but I'm going to ask that you not only just come back down so that you're pointing at the ground, I want you to try and take that imaginary laser coming out of your pubic bone and try and point it towards the wall, searching for a big stretch in the outside of your right hip or your hip that's on the wall. Once you've found that stretch, then we're going to open back up again. So I want you to join me here. So get into this position if you haven't already. Join me on this exercise. We're going to rotate down, try and point our pubic bone across over at that wall. Then you're going to press through that foot. You're going to drive your pelvis open and try and get it right, pointing across the room if you can. And then you're going to rotate back down again as far as you can, the biggest stretch you can in the back of that hip. And then you're going to rotate back up, squeeze that right glute, and then we're going to pull ourselves into a stretch in that right glute. I'm trying to keep my bottom leg pretty constant, meaning I don't want my leg and knee going all over the place. My knee is staying straight, my leg is staying strong, and I'm just kind of rotating in and out of this position, searching for that big stretch, opening back up, finding that big stretch one more time, the biggest stretch that you can, and then prying yourself back open. Then we're going to come out of it. We're going to switch over to the other leg. We're going to do the exact same thing. So left foot on the ground. I'm going to take my left hip. I'm going to sink it into the wall. And I'm going to have my leg out on a little bit of an angle. I'm going to sit back into my hip hinge. I'm going to take my block just so my hands have something to do and help keep myself a little bit more stiff. And then I'm going to open up, and you're going to join me. And we're going to rotate back down. Try and take that pelvis, try and point it across, find the biggest stretch that you can in that hip, and then you're going to open back up again. Come all the way back down, trying to drop that right hip. Then you're going to open back up, pry that hip open, squeeze that left glute, rotate back down, sink into that stretch, pry yourself back open, sink back down into it, pry yourself back open. We're going to do one more here. Sink all the way back down into it, and then back up you go one more time.